Alright guys, the flesh is weak and the deed endures. The headless Primarch, the 10th Legion, none other than the Iron Hands. Do a quick, easy black armor, stippling effect, throw some black ink over it, bit of pigment powders, and she's done and dusted. It's not hard. Let's just be fearless with it and get straight into it. Adding in a bit of that texture over that black base coat. You're not trying to hit every single skerrick of it. You just want to build it up enough that it shows where the light has obviously caught that black armor, because black's not black unless it's a Legion of the Damned where sunlight doesn't touch any ink and it's just boring and dark and grim. We're slowly building up all those colors all the way up to a lightish gray. That way that when we start to bring in the inks, the ink wash will help add in more depth and volume to those colors. Alright, so that's pretty much the bodywork done. What we're going to do now is we're going to take just a smaller paintbrush. We're just going to work our way through around all the edges, making sure we've got a little bit more depth in certain parts of the mini, the helmet and all that sort of stuff. Like I said, with our brush, we're just going back through now, finally touching all those edges, making sure that we're building up the character between the deep dark recesses and the areas that are going to catch the light. So obviously like this part here, the sides of the helmet, the bits between the top of the helmet, the eyes, the fronts of the nose, like all those sorts of points where the light is going to catch the brightest parts of black armor. Black is one of those things that's extremely hard to paint. Black armor is extremely hard to paint. It's extremely hard to give depth and character to. But if you just follow this process of slowly building up to a lighter color before you throw a wash or you throw an ink over the top, it is going to help you blend it all in the end. But then it's also going to not just make it look flat black. There's nothing worse than flat black armor. It looks pointless, it looks silly, and you can't give any, oh shit, I don't even know what the word is. You've just got to do it. You've got to build up those colors to a lighter color before you bring it back down to a darker color, so those lighter colors show through that darker color, as much as that is a complete and utter headfuck. Okay, so I shit myself here. This is Muted Grey by Liquitex, and it looks purple, and I was like, oh no, it's not going to be purple. And then I slapped it on, and I was like, holy shit, I've just turned my mini fucking purple. But it's okay. Like, for some weird reason, when it dries, it went grey, and it tied everything in perfectly. So sometimes the things that you've just got to trust the process. It's one of those things. It's just this age-old saying, trust the process, trust the process, trust the process. I shit myself. I thought, like, Jesus Christ, I've fucked everything that I've just done, and I've got to strip it and start again. But I didn't. When this dried, it perfectly made everything blend in. Like, everything just worked. Like I said before in the previous part, all the lighter, darker greys, the dark recesses, everything just tied in, and it worked. So sometimes you're winging it, other times you're not, but yeah, this was definitely, like, you can see it there, like, that's purple as, and yeah, I thought I was screwed. But Muted Grey, it actually worked. It tied everything together, made everything uniform, took away all the brighter parts and brought everything back down to one neutral color where it was effectively what I was trying to achieve. Tamiya TS80 is a game changer. If you do not matte varnish your minis, you're crazy. You've lost the plot. You need to matte varnish your minis. Just do it. You can see with the purple there, it still does look purple, but once we edge highlight it, that takes away. So here now I'm just working on the little Iron Hands logo, just on his pauldron, slowly building up the white. Little bit lower, little bit, touching it here, there, making sure that, you know, the brighter parts are on, like, the tips of the fingers, the tops of the hand, and then bringing it down to like a darker grey at the base. Just, you know, keeping with that method of where natural light's going to catch. Let's be honest, no mini's complete without transfers. So on the left, we're just starting to slap the battle line transfer on the front of this bad boy, using normal stuff of microsol, microset, and then hitting it with a matte varnish again, just to make sure that we lock it all in, and then we'll build up some texture on it, so that way it looks like it's blended in. Otherwise it's just going to look like a big stupid white triangle on his right pauldron, and it just makes no sense. pushing that down. Make sure we get all the air and all the water and all the crap out from underneath it. Otherwise, it's just going to sit flush, and it looks shitty. It looks poxy. And then on the other side, we're going to start building up again, just adding a bit more of a brighter white to the Iron Hands logo itself, like the chapter logo, sigil, insignia, whatever you want to call it. So we're building those up, slowly getting that a bit higher, just to make sure that it is a bit more bolder and a bit more dynamic and explosive off his pauldron. That way it's just going to look better on the tabletop. You don't want it to look flat and boring. You can see that there's a few darker parts, like just where the knuckles are on the right side of that gauntlet, and we're just going to slowly start to build them up, just where that natural light catches. Like I said, I've said natural light so many times in this video. You just want to make sure that things make sense and it reads properly. Like you're not going to have the back of his knee catch natural light. Like, it just doesn't make sense unless there's a way that the light is going to reflect off that. Then, you know, there's no point. It's going to be dark, it's going to be shadow, it's not going to be black, but it's still going to have some color, but it's not going to be as bright as the top of his head, the top of his packs. So that's how you want to try and follow that process when it comes to catching light with your mini. Alright, so now we're just going to go through, we're going to do the metallics, and we're going to do the leatherwork. So leatherwork's really simple. I just take Rhinox hide and I hit absolutely every single skerrick, every single piece of leather, and I just work my way around through that. You can see on the left clip where I'm starting to paint the tops of the bolter itself. I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be white, and I just didn't realize until I later on looked at some artwork for Iron Hands. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they're supposed to be white, but I just built up layers of grey. Just again focusing on the top parts where the light's going to catch, blah 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 blah, the same shit. It's the same thing that applies to bolters, applies to everything else that you're painting. Where the highest points are going to catch light, I've harped on about it in this video, I'm not going to say it anymore after this, but you just want to make sure that you catch those high points. It's pretty easy. With the leatherwork, I just work my way all the way around with a fine brush, just nice sharp point, pushing the browns around, and then after those browns I'll hit it with an Acryl thread wash, and then I'll just come back in, and then I'll use a lighter brown again, and a lighter brown again, just giving it that battle worn leather look. I don't understand why they use leather. I kind of don't understand why something that's running, I think it's ceramide armor or whatever it is, and can go into space and use warp travel and all the rest of this sort of cool shit, and 40mm bolt guns, and they use leather pouches. It sort of makes no sense to me, but yeah, I know. They just work our way around them. Add more leather. This is what I was saying. Just get a fine brush, a lighter brown again, and you're just picking all the edges. You're just touching the edges, just giving it a bit of depth and character to the leather. You can just paint a straight brown if you want. Slap with some Agrex shade, and shit, that'll do the job. If you want to just add a little bit more detail, a little bit more character, just take a lighter brown. Just even mix it with a grey, a brown with a bit of grey, and that's just perfectly going to do the job. And you can see my stupid glasses on my stupid face in the top right corner. But just literally take some brown, a lighter brown, give it just nothing's ever perfect. You're just giving it a bit of character, a bit of a cooler look by just adding in a little bit of extra detail. Right, so sweet. Now we're just adding a little bit more colour, a bit more highlight, a bit more volume to the bolter itself, and we're going to actually start to weather up the battle line transfer, because that white looks really dumb and really stupid. So we're going to blend it in a little bit. We're going to take a bit of sponge, or I can't remember how I did. I think I might have just done it with a brush. Oh no, I've stippled over the top of it. So we're just going to take the same grey that we took, which was German grey by AK. We're just going to stipple that all the way around, just to try and blend that in as best as we can. Because it's just, if like you can see there, it already looks better. And there was like 3 or 4 swipes with a stippled dry brush, and you're just poking it. You're not like brushing it on like you're dry brushing. You literally just look like poking. Just poke, like a tattooist does when they're just sitting there jabbing you with needles. You're literally just dabbing and tapping and leaving very minimal amounts of paint on there. And so that was enough. It was like 8 swipes. And then now I'm just taking in a brush, just adding a few bits of damage, just to, like everything with this mini show, you just want it to stand out. So just adding in a bit more depth and a bit more character. So just like I've said this 1,000 times, I'm sick of saying depth and character, but you're just adding more to it. So it blends in, looks functional, and it looks good. And look at how easy and quick and simple that was. Nobody would know. That's all you got to do. Something that simple and easy. Now I've got to glue the head on. Make sure you glue his head the way that he's pointing, or the direction he's looking, and the direction he's pointing his bolter. Then we move on now here, and we're just blocking in some of the metallics, like we're smashing out the Aquila. I think we're washing the other metallics that we do in his hands as well. null and oil, what can I say? Null and oil. Dark silver from Pro Acryl, I think it's the best metallic that there is, but yeah, smash that with null oil. I just, again, depth, contrast, shadows, all the rest of that sort of. Alright, now for the base. Literally 2 little chunks of cork glued down on the base. I didn't have a spoon because I wanted to shovel some like dirt and sand or something, I couldn't be bothered going upstairs to get one. So I literally just cut the ass out of this this dropper. And it actually worked really well. It turned out to be like a little shovel that I could just dip in, put some super glue down and dip in, and then just like throw all my dirt, sand and gravel and shit everywhere, and it still made a mess, but like, yeah, it did the job, You just gotta do what you gotta do at certain times. So now I'm just throwing down some super glue. I'm going to use my cool little new shovel, scoop out some sand and some bits of crap that I stole from the local playground, just sprinkle it around, let that dry, and then come back. We're going to hit that with a base coat, and then we can start dry brushing and edge highlighting and base reaming and all that other cool sort of stuff. Stick our mini down and he is going to be good to go. Well, I got ahead of myself and there's still more. So what we're doing now is we're going to smash all of this with the black base coat. Just literally cover every single skerrick of this. Just lather on it. Doesn't matter how heavy it is, how thick it is, how wet it is. It's all good. Everything is dry. We're literally just going to cover anything and everything in a black base coat. That way when we come back through in a minute and dry brush, everything is going to work out fine. Just lather all of this shit on. If you want to get the base rim, you can, because it's not really going to matter, because that way it saves us painting the base rim later on, but we ended up painting it anyway. But yeah, smash everything in a base coat. You've got an airbrush, is the perfect time to use it. I like to use Coal Black by Pro Acryl, Monument Hobbies. One of the best blacks you can get. Just, it goes on nice and matte, and it just, I don't know, it just works. It looks good. That's just what I prefer to use. You can use whatever black you want to use, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, make sure you smash everything with a black base coat. Shit, so I think I cheated. I actually used my airbrush at this point. I don't know why I used my airbrush, I can't remember, but I literally just hit this with a dark grey. I think it was the same grey that we used for the armour itself. I think it was German grey by AK, but I literally just sprayed all of that over the top of the base, but still left all the darker recesses from that coal black from our black base coat. And then what we'll do from there is we come back in with a dry brush, and I hit it with a dry brush of a lighter grey again, so it gives it that rocky, volcanic-y sort of look. Yeah, so this is it. Now, coming in, dry brush. Literally, everyone knows how to dry brush. It's literally the most outer edges. Flicking up, flicking back, flicking around, flicking down. Making sure you get all those high points. Leaving all the dark recesses. Self-explanatory. You know what you're doing. Just, yeah, dry brush it. Easy. Right, so here we just took 2 reds. The last red there, I think on the right is Scarlet Blood, and the first red on the left I think is like burnt red from Pro Acryl, and we're literally just building up the layers of what is effectively supposed to be lava. If it turned out to look like lava to you, then hey, I've won. To me, I thought it was like, oh, I've never really done it, so I'll give it a crack. But apparently their home world is like a, I don't know, sort of like the salamanders. It's all like volcanic and shit like that. At least that's what Google told me, but I could be wrong, so if I'm wrong, tell me, let me know. I don't really play Iron Hands, but yeah, anyway, so that's all I did. I just moved my way around, building up the different textures of red, and then I come back in and hit it with an orange, so that way it sort of gives you that effect. And you just pick up the edges as well on the outsides of the rocks, the outsides of the cork, just to sort of give it like it's got that reflective look, like the, you know, the glow, that shine from the lava which is underneath. Like there's always going to be that light casting up, so it's okay if you hit the edges. It's not really a big deal. So as we do, just keep moving it around, keep working it. Like I said, catches just, you know, going around all those high little edge parts of the rocks of what we're trying to do, and just, you know, showing that the light is shining up from below. It's just adds a little bit more, again, that same fucking word, character and depth. Like, Jesus Christ, I'm so sick of saying that friggin' word, that phrase. But yeah, it does. It adds more character, just adds more depth, makes just, oh my god, makes it look like it works. It makes it functional. Just makes it functional. That's what we're trying to achieve, just to make everything sort of mesh in together and work. Yeah, so we glue our mini down, everything's easy, everything's sorted. You can see in the other side there, sort of off shot, that I was putting my my pigment powders down, which I decided to mix with some thinners, and yeah, I kind of fucked it up. Like it just washed out the entire base. The base just went from being so bright and vibrant to just being, yeah, really dark and shit. So I actually had to come back in with a bunch of water and wash it all off, and then reapply it. And it turned out okay in the end. Like, it's just one of these things in this hobby. You've just got to risk it for the biscuit and just give it a crack. Yeah, and see, this was the point where I realized, oh, I fucked up. like I fucked up big. Like I spent all that time on the base and I was just like, oh, I completely fucked this up. And I was like, oh shit, how do I fix it? And I was like, what if I just take more thinners and more water and literally absolutely layer the living shit out of it and then try to bring it back? And yeah, it worked. It actually worked. I was pretty proud of myself. I didn't think it would work, but it worked. And it's just one of those things. What do you do?
That's it. It is that simple. He's done and dusted. The 10th Legion, Iron Hands, a headless fucking Primarch, all of it. Look, I can try and bang on about terminology and all this other sort of shit, but it's like those old self-help books, like Painting for Dummies. I'm just gonna literally do it exactly like that from now on. Yeah, it's a voiceover and it's gonna be informal and it's gonna sound a bit shit, but I find it's the easiest way to understand miniature painting. This hobby doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard. But that's it. He's done, finished, busted, done, all over. 10th Legion, knocked out. I want to know what you want to see me paint next. I'm thinking possibly ultramarines. I've got something in the works for that, using an airbrush and inks and all that sort of cool stuff. But that's for a later chapter down the road. I've also got something else coming up to do with Catachan Jungle Fighters, the all times, my favorites. I love Catachan Jungle Fighters. I'm going to take old minis and a new mini and see which mini turns out best. We'll just see how that goes. But as always, be fearless, paint fearlessly, and I will see you all again soon.